Hello, welcome to Hong Kong. My name is Thor and I'm an adventurer and modern day explorer who has reached 194 countries in an unbroken journey, completely without flying. I've not been home for 8 years and I'm hanging in there. My fingernails, I'm thinly worn, really tired. 9 countries, from becoming the first in history to reach every country in the world in an unbroken journey, completely without flying. And that's been the status of this project for nearly 2 years now. 9 countries from the goal, thanks to the pandemic. So here's a thought. If it was easy to go to every country in the world, then how come less than 300 people in history have done so? It's not easy. So what we did with this project is we added 3 rules. Can't fly at any point. Must stay more than 24 hours in every country. Can't go home until we reach the final country, or if I quit the project. Something which has been on my mind many times. But so far, I haven't quit. And in part because I believe that anything in life that you truly want, you have to fight for it, even as it gets hard. That could be a number of different things. Something applies to you, I'm sure about it. So Hong Kong's great. There isn't a city in the world that has as many skyscrapers as Hong Kong does. It has a lot of nature as well. I have my friends here, I have a daily routine, but I don't want to be here. I want to be home. I wanted to go home already back in 2015, and nothing has changed since 2015. I've been wanting to go home. But here we are, many years later. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the logistics of reaching our remaining 9 countries. Our remaining 9 countries are island nations with no ferry connections. 7 of them are in the Pacific, and 2 of them are in the Indian Ocean. Great distances between these island nations. For instance, it would take about 15 days for us to sail from Hong Kong to Palau, and Palau is our nearest remaining country. And it's not that simple. So throughout most of the pandemic, Palau has been closed to protect itself and its citizens, and no ships have arrived apart from the Navy and container ships which have arrived to drop off and collect containers. The ship doesn't go straight from Hong Kong to Palau. It calls a number of ports on its way. So it goes from Hong Kong to Taiwan, it goes from Taiwan to Guam, it goes from Guam to Saipan, from Saipan to Yap, and then it goes to Koror, which is in Palau. But then it goes directly from Koror back to Hong Kong, and that only takes 6 days. So 15 days to reach Palau and 6 days to come back. Now, I need to quarantine for 10 days when we reach Palau, and the service of Pacific International Lines, which is a shipping company that has helped us 3 times before, and they're doing their utmost to help us now once again. They have a bi-weekly service, so they have 2 ships on the rotation. 1 ship arrives, I'll get off, then wait for 2 weeks, and then the other ship will arrive and hopefully be able to pick me up and bring me back to Hong Kong, except it's not that simple. It's really complex now during the pandemic with regulations and new variants and whatnot. And everyone's being super cautious, things are moving slow. So we have received permission to send me from Hong Kong on board Pacific International Lines vessel to Palau from all the ports and all the agents involved in this route, apart from immigration in Guam. Guam is US territory, and that complicates things a little bit. The United States is so strict that just for me to be on board a ship, not leaving the ship and entering Guam, but just being in Guam's international territories, I need to have a visa. And I cannot get an ESTA approval online anymore. Those days are long gone since we went to Afghanistan and North Korea and a number of other places. So I need a proper visa, and I have that. I applied for that a couple of years ago. It's valid for 10 years. So I need to have that visa in my passport just to be on the ship. That's how strict it is. And right now we're waiting for immigration in Guam to say everything's cool, enjoy your life, have a nice journey, you can be on the ship on your way to Palau. So once that clearance comes back, hopefully we'll be off on our way to country number 195, then quarantine for 2 weeks in Palau, and then another 4 days in freedom, and then the other ship arrives, and then 6 days to get back to Hong Kong, and then probably quarantine at a hotel for 2, maybe even 3 weeks here in Hong Kong. So if you add all of that together, you'll find that reaching this one country, apart from all the work we put into all this, from leaving Hong Kong to getting out of hotel quarantine in Hong Kong, is more than 2 months. One country. I am thinly worn. You rarely meet anyone who has traveled for much more than 6 or maybe 9 months. Some people travel for a year. Once in a while, I meet people who have traveled for a year and a half. Very rarely people who have traveled for 2 years. People get worn out. They meet enough people, they see enough places, they miss home, they miss the familiarity of being back home. They've seen enough temples, enough sunsets, and they've had, they want to go home, get a break, and then recharge their batteries, and then they go out and they travel again. That's how most people do it. We've been out here for 8 years now. I've been wanting to go home since 2015, and that has not changed. I just thought, if we fight just a little bit more, and here we are, getting closer to 2022. It's been almost 2 years in Hong Kong now, and I love Hong Kong. Hong Kong is amazing. It's fantastic. There's so many opportunities in Hong Kong. There are mountains and waterfalls, and there are beaches, and there's the city, and there's Michelin star food, and I have friends here, and I have routines. I have a job in Hong Kong. I have a Hong Kong ID card. I have a Hong Kong driver's license. I donate blood in Hong Kong. I'm pretty established after 2 years in Hong Kong, but I don't want to be here. People are so nice. I feel safe in Hong Kong, but I don't want to be here. I want to be off on my way to the next country. But what can I do? Fortunately, we have massive support from the government in Palau, and they have cleared us in so many ways, and they did it swiftly, which is just fantastic. We have support from Pacific International Lines, which is the only shipping company that can bring us from Hong Kong to Palau and back again. That's amazing. We have support from a number of people in a number of offices and places in and out of Hong Kong that are doing all sorts of stuff for us, trying to investigate what's possible and get clearance on a different amount of levels. So there's massive support. It's just really, really tough. Well, today's another day. Didn't give up today. As always, keep on keeping on in this project. It's always a stranger is a friend you've never met before. It's always people are just people. And in my case, time flies, but I don't. Merry Christmas.